Esteem and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach this day, the fifth chapter of John, 39th verse. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. You will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? So we're preparing for Pentecost. So we're still going to be dealing with the law. And we're still going to be continuing from what we did not complete on Shabbat. But the theme of the week clearly will be to set it up to where we are not off course for what we will deal with, Yah willing, on Pentecost. So with that being said, Genesis chapter 1 and verse 11. You hear a lot of things. I just seen a brother, he said something real. So you got a lot of people say they ministers of the gospel, say they follow the apostles' doctrine, but upon further examination, you don't see these things in their character. Paul made a statement. He said, you know my manner of life. If you want to see somebody, then you have to see their manner of life. And that's where you see the conduct or the character of an individual. Because as I've told y'all before, your personality is who you are, but your character is what you do. You cannot change your personality, but you can change your character. You can definitely change your character. You can't change your personality, and nor should you. You should even want dealings with anyone who will want to change your personality. I know I have a personality people may not like because I have an aggressive personality. But at the same time, in my character, I am firm in what I believe, and I will not budge or move on it. I was raised with accountability. You acknowledge your error and you correct it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to accept your crap. I will at the same token. I would try to understand why you make the choice and decision that you make. I'm not going to justify it, but I want to understand how you think, because that way we can help eliminate that situation the way you won't do it again. That is something that I learned as a child, because that's what my people did. At least I say more specifically, my auntie did that a lot. She wanted to understand your thought process. What were you thinking? Because if she could understand what you were thinking, then she could give you counsel accordingly for you to understand why a particular behavior or a particular action was not the best course of action for you to take. That is something that all of us need to realize. And when we see people do things out of pocket, find out why they did it. Try to understand why they did it. When you can understand that, that's not making an excuse for them. That's not justifying them. That is called long suffering, mercy, and compassion. Remember, the book says that Yahuwah knows our frame, it is but dust. So he understands and knows why we're stupid as we are. So therefore, this is why he sent his son in the likeness of sinful flesh. This is a matter of fact, since I said that, just rock with me. Hebrew chapter 2. See, y'all understand this here, man. Just feel me on this. See, a lot of niggas, I'm tell you something, man. A lot of niggas wicked. Let's just keep it hot. A lot of niggas is wicked. A lot of niggas like to get out in front of people and to pretend to be something that they're not. A lot of people like to be righteous but don't want to live righteous. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. A lot of people want to talk it. A lot of people don't want to live it. You know what I'm saying? A book tell you straight up and down you need to teach yourself before you can teach somebody else. You got to learn how to eliminate sin out your own heart before you can eliminate it out of somebody else's. See, a lot of people say a lot of things, man, but one thing I've learned over time, boy, y'all expose a lot of people for the flawedness and the fakeness and the wickedness that they be pulling. So I was talking to my little homie yesterday, man. He was talking about something, exposing somebody for something that they did. And he was like, you ain't never exposed a nigga on the internet? I say, for what? For what? For what? One thing for certain and two things for sure. You ain't got to expose nobody, because niggas is exposing themselves every day out here on these streets, B. Every day. You know what I'm saying? Now, the book does say, rebuke darkness, call him out. Ain't got no problem with that. But a lot of times, you just let niggas move along and you just sit back and be like, how Pac put it. You could tell the niggas you roll with whatever you want, but you and I know what's going on. Long as you know, and you solid with what you doing, then let them niggas live, because y'all going to put them out there and put them to shame before everybody. You ain't got to do nothing. Hebrews 2:14, though. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is, the devil, and deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. For truly he took not on him the nature of Malachim, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to Elohim, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself had suffered being tempted, he is able to succor them that are tempted. See, you know why we read that? Because Elohim literally manifested a man, manifested his son as a man, I should say, manifested him as flesh, so that this man could understand what you were dealing with, so he could be the aid, help, and relief, and cause you not to make that choice or decision, because he was in the likeness of sinful flesh as you are and overcame it. Therefore, he can understand where you're coming from when he knows your thought process and the decisions that you're making. See, that's how you eliminate a problem, is you try to understand the thought process of the individual. This is why problems in our community, as far as the black community or worldwide, is never fixed, because no one wants to understand the thought process of the individual. People just want to tell you you're wrong and this is what you ought to do. But that's the part of being merciful, and that's the part of having pity, and that's the part of having compassion, is I want to understand how you think. Because that is the only, it put it to you this way. Studying this thing for marketing, for the real estate business. And I did learn this, and I'm not going to give credit to the individual in the marketing class, because I learned this from a man, I can't remember his last name, but his name is Carlton, and he works for Jack's Bridges, which is a part of Jack's Chamber of Commerce, a black gentleman. I had to give, and not just because he's black, but I have to give credit to that gentleman because I learned that nugget from him first. Do you know what I'm saying? You got to understand the pain point of your customer in order to offer the value to fix their problem. See, if you don't know the pain point, if you don't know what the issue is, then you can't offer the solution to fix it. This is something that you have to understand. In whatever business you run, if you're dealing with a business where you're in, because if you're in business, you're in the business of solving a problem. The person has a problem, and you're there to solve it. When you come with the word, that person has a problem, and that problem is sin in the flesh, and now you coming to solve it. Yahushua coming to solve the problem. So in order to solve the problem, he has to understand how you think. He has to understand how you move. He has to understand that to be able to solve that problem. See, there has to be, you see the story of David with Uriah the Hittite, and that's an example of how to, okay, let's look at the root cause of this lust. This is how you fix this. The example, don't look upon a woman with lust in your heart, because you've already committed adultery. And you can see this, what this is. Looking at a butt naked woman, you carnal, meaning you of the flesh, you looking upon that, and that is the problem. So to solve that problem, don't do this, because we're looking at that thought process that happened here. And that's how the lesson is. And you don't do that. Look away. Problem is solved. How do you deal with anger? How do you deal with this here? How do these things solve? How do you end up doing all this here? Because you have to look at the triggers. Now you sitting back and you looking at people now, 2018 style. Most people issues come from childhood. Do you know what I'm saying? It's coming from childhood. They have not healed and fixed those issues from childhood, and they follow them to adulthood. Some stuff people bringing with it to adulthood, they just need to suck that junk up and get over it. Nigga, you grown. Do you know what I'm saying? Let it go. Stop carrying that. Let it go. Because at this point, you're trying to play the victim, and you want attention, and you want pity and sorrow instead of just sucking it up. And that's not mutually exclusive to every single solitary situation. You know what I'm saying? Because I know people who have dealt with things as a child that they ain't had no business dealing with. I spoke to a brother. This man dealt with 3 separate situations where I can truly say that this man has to be one of the strongest people that I've ever encountered, because each of the individual situations that he faced would have broke the strongest of people. Just one of them. And he dealt with 3 of them. You understand that? Just one of them. And he dealt with 3 of them. And still got his sanity. And niggas be around here crying about this, that, and the third. That junk could have broke that man easily. And he didn't allow it to. But I also understand that everybody's not that strong. This is why Yahushua say his grace is made perfect in weakness. Because everybody doesn't have that innate natural mental strength and fortitude to overcome and deal with particular issues. You know what I'm saying? But the only way you can deal with this stuff is you have to confess that stuff out loud. You have to discuss it. You have to let it go. You have to go talk to somebody about it. I tell people all the time, you ain't got to talk to me. Just because I preach the word, this, that, and the third, I ain't saying you got to talk to me. If you choose to talk to me, that's cool. But you need to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? You need to talk to somebody. Ain't no sense of carrying this stuff around with you, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to grow past the point that you at once you do that. But nevertheless, Genesis chapter 1, verse 11. Hello, Abigail Dion. How are you doing? Your hair is nice. Hey, Abigail. Hey, Abigail. I'm just a baby. And Elohim said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself, upon the earth, and it was so. And the Arats brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind, and Elohim saw that it was good. So that's what we're going to look at, right? The tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. So the first thing we want to look, thank you, Abigail. You are a helpful baby. First thing we want to do is go to Matthew, 12. Let's look at something, 43. Hey, Tabby. Hey, Tabby. What you doing, Tabby? No, you can't get up here, Tabby. Oh, I'm at 13. That's why we got a problem. My apologies. Wrong place. And that's 12 and 33. Listen what he tell you, right? Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt, for the tree is known by its fruit. So when we look at this statement, now when we look at after his kind, and we get the word for kind, when we have the word for kind, we have ma'im, is what we have. The word is ma'im. I don't know why I had cough there. I'm tripping. You know what I'm saying? We got the mem, the yod, and the noon. So when we look at this here, we see that we could take the meme and we sit back there and we look at the mighty work of continual life. That's what ends up happening if you're after his kind, because it's the tree that's yielding fruit after its kind. So it's the ma'im, and you have the mighty work, because we got mighty for ma'im, we got work for yod, and life continual or continual life or eternal life for noon. So when we look at this here, those that are after his kind are going to manifest the power of that mighty work. And so we'd have to establish what is this mighty work, because this is the fruit that is yielding after his kind. Now, the key component here is he says you got to make this tree good and its fruit good, or else make that tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt. So notice it's not just about the fruit, because the fruit is the offspring of the tree. So we need to look and examine the tree and understand that the tree, the seed is in itself. So when we look at fruit, we're not going to deal with seed today. When we look at fruit, we have pere. So we have the pay, we have the rosh, and we have the yod. And when we look at this here is we want to present the deeds or the actions or the work of the highest or the chief. So when you come with this fruit is a presentation of the work of the chief, because you're of his kind, because of the mighty work of continual life. So once we establish what this tree is, Then we establish what kind it is, and then we can establish the fruit that comes from said tree. Then we can be able to understand what he means when he says make the tree good and its fruit good, or make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt. Because let's take it to Matthew chapter 7 where he speaks it in a different fashion, just for general principle. 7 and 15. See, people say a lot of things, right? One thing I can tell y'all, right? Most of y'all should know this in life. If a nigga is accusing another person of doing something or being a particular way with no real type of evidence, 99.9% of the time, that nigga is doing it. And for the simplest example, somebody accusing you of stealing, they probably stealing. Your spouse accusing you of cheating, they probably cheating. Because that's the evidence of a guilty conscience. You know what I'm saying? See, one thing about me, a nigga can come tell me a particular person is a particular type of way, and I'll take it under advisement. But I won't make that determination until I actually know them. Do you know what I'm saying? And when I say know them by being around them and observing their actions. Whatever a person states, it's just duly noted. If I don't see the correlation of that person's work with the information given, then I'm looking at the individual who gave that information as suspect. This is a suspect individual. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes if somebody come by and be like, hey, boy, watch that dude, but they don't go into no detail, usually I know that whatever they saying is probably some validity to it, because they ain't going there spraying nobody's name or this, that, there, and the third. They just said, watch it. You know what I'm saying? Coming from where we come from, that's somebody pulling you up on game, like, watch that dude. Because he, clearly it's something about him ain't right. You know what I'm saying? People go to running you down. You got to sit back and see if it's accurate. If it line up, then I know that person was telling the truth. You know what I'm saying? If it don't line up, they wasn't telling the truth. The reason why I mention that is because this is what they did to Hamashiach. They went and ran him down. They went and ran him down. They said he was a deceiver. They said he was making himself a king besides Caesar. They said he was a blasphemer. They said all these things to poison him in the ears of people so they would not believe on him, so they would not listen to him, so they would not follow him. And they were showing that they were of a corrupt tree. Now, since I said that, let's take ourselves to the beginning. Praise y'all for the word. Lil Muffin, may I use your phone, please? Very well, then. It's not pressing. Not pressing in the least bit. Genesis chapter 2, verse 15. Genesis 2, verse 15. And Yahuwah Elohim took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. And Yahuwah Elohim commanded the man, saying, every tree of the garden thou may freely eat. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. For in the day that thou eat thereof thou shalt surely die. I missed that Matthew 7. Forgive me. We're going to get it in a moment. And Yahuwah Elohim said, it is not good. That's good. We don't need that no more. Now, he told him, come over back to verse 8, because that's what we need. I need that. I need to work both of them in there. Forgive me right now. I'm trying to work around. Yahuwah Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made Yahuwah Elohim to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So right now, what do we see? A good tree with good fruit and a corrupt tree with corrupt fruit. So you either going to have to make this tree good and its fruit good, or you're going to have to make this tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt. We know the decision that was made. But let's go back to Matthew chapter 7. What you want, man? You want your chair? Ain't no chair here, man. Matthew 7:15. Yeah, man. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. What does this mean that the ravening wolves? Let's check this, though, for those who may not be familiar. Ezekiel 22. What you want, Potty Pot? Huh? I can't understand you, Potty Pot. You looking for your flower book? Whose? Did Mommy tell you where it was? Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 23. Let's see what these ravening wolves is and what these ravening wolves do. When you see this, you can understand what we're going to look at, why he mentioned this point and then went to talking about these trees and these fruit. Follow me. Understand the word. Let's see what he say. And the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto her, Thou art the land that is not cleansed, nor rained upon in the day of indignation. There is a conspiracy of her prophets in the midst thereof, like a roaring lion ravening the prey. They have devoured souls. They have taken the treasure and precious things. They have made her many widows in the midst thereof. Her priests have violated my Torah. They have profaned my Kadesh things. They have put no difference between the Kadesh and profane. Neither have they showed difference between the unclean and the clean. They have hid their eyes from my Shabbats, and I am profaned among them. Her princes in the midst thereof are like wolves ravening the prey, to shed blood and to destroy souls and to get dishonest gain. And her prophets have daubed them with untempered mortar, seeing vanity, divining lies unto them, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, when Yahuwah have not spoken. The people of the land have used oppression, exercised robbery, and have vexed the poor and needy. They have oppressed the stranger wrongfully. So one of the things we sit back and see is there's a conspiracy with these men towards a roaring lion, to ravening prey, to devour souls, and to make and take the precious treasure, the precious things in the treasure, and they have made her many widows in the midst thereof. So let's get back and let's go to Matthew chapter 23. And let's see what it means. Of what he's talking about when he makes this statement. See, the key thing, right? I'll just save that for another conversation. Because that's a part of the conversation. It all depends if I'm going to be able to work it in the course of what we're dealing with. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because today is just a setup day. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Yahuwah willing, we have breath in our lungs, is to knock down the pins day. That's what that day for. Because I ain't got all night. I ain't got you all night at 9. 23 and 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of Shamahim against men, for you neither go on yourselves, neither you suffer ye them that are entering to go in. So look at this here. There is the roaring lion ravening the prey to devour souls. Let's see how they do it. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses. And there he is making this statement. They've made many widows thereof. They're devouring souls. Let's see how they devour it. And for a pretense make long prayer, therefore you shall receive the greater damnation. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him 2/4 more the child of hell than you are yourselves. Woe unto you, you blind guys, which say, whosoever shall swear by the temple, it is nothing, but whosoever shall swear by the gold of the temple, he is a debtor. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctify the gold. He's sitting there telling them, you telling me he swear by the temple, he good. Don't swear by the gold in the temple. What are they showing? Greedy for filthy lucre. Showing that they judge for hire and judge for reward. This is how they're ravening prey. That's how there's a conspiracy. These men have sat down in collusion together in order to make merchandise of the people. And to devour widows' houses and to devour souls. How do you devour souls? Because the book of Lamentations of the prophet Jeremiah tell you that these priests are not found the means of your banishment. They're not telling you why you banished. And see, what does a simple nigga tell you? You just keep the law, statutes, and commandments and you straight. No, you idiotic fool. This man told you that your sins have separated you from you. So they say, well, that's still the law, statutes, and commandment. No, you dummy. No, because it said that Yahushua came to be remission of sins. Therefore, all those who believe on his name and are sanctified by the faith in him have remission of sins. So it's the faith in the Son of the living Elohim, and living according to his word is what will cause your sins to be remitted, which will cause your soul to be delivered, which will cause you to become one with Elohim. See, he told you in the law that these are children of whom clearly have no faith. And this is what scarred them. What sanctified Abraham to be called the friend of Elohim? It was his faith. That's why he said, I don't call you servants but friends. That's why Yahushua told you that. Nevertheless, he said, whosoever shall swear by the altar, it is nothing. But whosoever swear by the gift that is upon it, he is guilty. Ye fools and blind, for whether is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctify the gift? Whoso therefore shall swear by the altar, swear by it, and by all things thereon. And whosoever shall swear by the temple, swear by it, and by him that dwell therein. And he that shall swear by Shamahim, swear by the throne of Elohim, and him that sit thereon. Ooh, that's ugly now. That's ugly now. Go ahead and swear by heaven if you want to. You swearing by him that sit on it. Around here talking about Yah liveth. You sure better stand on it. That's how you devour a soul. Because you getting people in a position of where they will always be contrary to Yahuwah. Yahuwah say, you walk contrary to me, I walk contrary to you. See, these people are not out here warning us, telling us, or pointing us to the man who can save us. It's always generic crap and the same nonsense that will save no one. This man told you in Jeremiah 4:4-14. How long, Jerusalem, will vain thoughts lodge within thy heart? Wash your heart. How long are we going to be sitting around here thinking and arguing about dead works and stupidity and words that cannot save? How long? How long will our conscience be filled with dead works when the blood of a Mashiach who offered himself without spot should have purged our conscience from any dead work? How long? How long will we allow ourselves to be a corrupt tree? When are we going to become a good tree so the fruit can be good? What they say, ain't nobody good but Elohim. But then it said that Yahushua was good, and he went about doing good because he was a just man. He was determined to be good once he resurrected from the dead. Now we need to dwell in him and become as him so we can be that good tree and produce that fruit. And that fruit leads to everlasting life. How many people want to live forever is the question. I don't think it's many. I don't think it's many. And I look plenty of these people in the face and tell them the same. That's what Yahushua was doing. That's why they hated him. Because he was imploring the people to live, and they didn't want to live. They didn't want to do the will of Elohim. They wanted to do their own will in the name of Elohim, and damning and devouring souls in the process. It's disgusting and despicable. Do you know what I'm saying? You got hypocrites on every corner. You got unskilled men who cannot show the people the way of salvation. And we plunging deeper and deeper in degradation and damnation. And it seems nobody cares. It seems that nobody cares. Do you know what I'm saying? It is utterly ridiculous. Nevertheless, when we look at the next thing, they're not showing the difference. But look how he said this here, the dishonest gain. The dishonest gain. See, pause. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Let's see what Paul told you about dishonest gain. Because you know what the law say about dishonest gain. Don't you defraud your brother in any matter. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. I'm not talking to you, little pots. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 6. Little lazy. Sit upon your bum. That no man go beyond and defraud his brother in any matter, because who is the avenger of such, as we also forewarned you and testified. For Elohim have not called us unto uncleanliness, but unto Kadash. He therefore that despise not man but Elohim, who have also given unto us his Ruach HaKadosh. But as touching brotherly love, you need not that I write unto you, for ye yourselves are taught of Elohim to love one another. The law teach you that. See, if you love Yahuwah, you love your brother. See, a lot of people say they love men, but they don't. They don't. They don't. And it shows. And it shows. See, a lot of people have ulterior motives and self-serving interests when it comes to love, that they have to benefit. I always see people talking about online, How they cut people off if people don't call them and check on them. How many people have you called and checked on? See, then that's not love then, because see, the love is self-serving and self-interest. See, if don't nobody do this for me, then I'm not going to reciprocate. But ain't nobody do nothing for Yahushua, but yet he reciprocated. Yet nobody did nothing for Yahuwah, but yet he reciprocated. He loved you nonetheless. Show yourself to be the sons and daughters of Elohim at that point. See, we come up in a selfish generation. We come up in a selfish nation. When I say nation, I'm referring to this God-forsaken place that they call the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? Where you learn that everything has to be about you and your wants and everything else. It's all about you, you. That's how we talk. The word of Yahuwah teach you to think about others. Others. So what, ain't nobody called you? You ain't never thought maybe they going through something just as maybe as you is. Maybe you should have enough sense to call them and maybe find out that they dealing with something, and y'all could go and y'all could be able to help each other with what you're going through together. See, nobody think about that. Nobody checks on me. Nigga, suck it up, you grown. People got families, man. People got stuff going on just like you got going on. Ain't nobody ain't forgetting about people. They dealing with their own stuff. But see, nobody cares about that, because it's all about what they got going on. It seems that's all people already want to talk about doing is cutting people off. Only cut people off when they go against what the words say do. That's when you leave them alone. You got people who say people done stuff to them. When you ask them what they done, they talking like Fred Flintstone. Yabba dabba do. They ain't got nothing to say. Stuttering. Because ain't nobody did nothing to you. It's all according to your own self-interest and your self-serving or your selfishness that exists within you. Because everything has to be according to your desires, your wants, your will. And that's not bearing forth good fruit. That is not what Yahushua taught us. That is not what Elohim taught us. And we have to sit back and consider that. I'm sitting over here. We sit back and we look at everybody who's in the congregation. With the exception of, outside of myself, 2 other people, everybody is married. And they all have children. These people all have jobs. People ain't never considered, you know what I'm saying? That, you know what, these people got a family, man. So, you know, you want them to be able, if you a friend, you want that person to be able to focus on their family, focus on their wife, focus on their kids. It doesn't mean that the friendship is going to dwindle nonetheless, but you're going to take that into consideration. The things, the burdens, when I say burden, I mean the responsibilities, the things that go along with being a spouse and a parent. Do niggas even think about that? Or are you only thinking about what it is with you? Just because somebody don't call you on a regular basis don't mean they not your friend. Are we that simplistic? Because I come from an era, niggas ain't had no cell phone, so nobody couldn't pick up no phone and call you like that. So somebody don't call you don't mean they ain't got no love for you. Are we that, have we gotten to be that selfish? Where you sit back and look at that, maybe you could think of yourself, if somebody ain't called me in a minute, maybe it's something they got going on. How we thought about that? See, this man told us that he had a conversation. This man had a conversation in the 13th chapter of John, where he washed his apostles' feet, and he told them that they ought to wash one another's feet, and they would be blessed if they remember this, which means to look out for each other, to serve each other, and that's what you have to remember. When you sit back and you look at you a servant of Elohim, that man say your job is unthankful. Say nobody don't thank you for doing what you ought to do. You are unprofitable servant doing what it is it's your duty to do. But see, niggas do stuff and they feel like you supposed to get a recognition for it. You should be doing it because you are a servant, and that's the thing that you ought to do. You shouldn't be doing it for somebody to tell you how good you are. If you do stuff and it says make me feel nice inside, you did that for yourself. You didn't do it because you were a servant. How many servants you know do something and say, I feel good serving? They're serving because that's their job. They're serving because that's their job. That's why you say I'm an unprofitable servant, just doing what it is my duty to do. See what that means when you're talking about making the tree good and its fruit good? That's a part of the fruit. But nevertheless, let's finish this one more thing right here, right? Vexing the poor and needy. You know what I'm saying? Using oppression and exercising robbery and telling lies and seeing vanity. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Matthew 26. Let's see him using oppression and telling lies and robbing, seeing and speaking vanity. 26 and 1. You know, praise y'all for the word. The word is good. The word is right. Because Yahuwah is just altogether. His judgments are true. His mercies endure. And his judgment is swift. And it came to pass when Yahushua had finished all these things, he said unto his disciples, you know that after 2 days, the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together, there goes your conspiracy, the chief priests and the scribes and the elders unto the people, unto the place of the high priest who was called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Yahushua by subtlety and kill him. But they said not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. We drop down to verse 14. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and he said unto them, what will you give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they coveted him with him for 30 pieces of silver. And then they saw opportunity to betray him. Excuse me. So what do we see here? Now, of course, for time's sake, I got to crank it up. So we know that they grabbed Yahushua under false pretenses, oppression. They spoke lies because they brought false witnesses to lie on the man, and seen a false vision. And they exercised this oppression. So when you see this here, what you see is one of the fruits of a corrupt tree is a hatred and a despising for the servants of Elohim. As he says in John chapter 16, that he say they will put you out of their synagogues and they will kill you and think they do Elohim service. See, I've told y'all this before. One of the biggest traps that I don't want none of y'all to fall in, and this doesn't mean that you purposely exclude yourself. Majority of people who claim to be of the faith are going to hate you, and they're going to be the ones to kill you. Don't let nobody fool you on that. Don't let nobody deceive you. As Yahushua put it, I have told you before. And he has told us because it's in his book. It's in his book. It's in his book. Don't be no idiot. Don't let nigga get you on that unity talk and come together talk and think it's going to be all peaches and cream, all honky-dory, smiles, hugs, and kisses. Because that man said they're going to put you out of their synagogues. Why would these people put you out? Why would your own kind who believe what you believe put you out? Why would your own kind who say that they believe in the same Elohim will kill you and think they doing Elohim service? You consider that. You think about that. What are you preaching and teaching to make these people want to kill you? Nobody want to talk about that. All anybody want to talk, when you deal with these brood, man, all they want to talk about is the heathen going to be the one to do it. The nation's going to be the one to do it, and it's going to be them. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. We're going to get John 16, read it to you off the page. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. I'm trying to tell you. This man done warned you. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. 16 and 1, these things I have spoken unto you, that you should not be offended. They shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time come that whosoever kill you will think that he do Elohim service. And these things they will do unto you, because they have not known Abba nor me. But these things I have told you, that when the time shall come, you may remember I told you of them. And these things I said not unto you at the beginning, because I was with you. That man said, I done told you now. That man say they don't know him or his Abba. So that's why they going to do this to you. I'm trying to tell you, understand that. This is why you want to make the tree good and its fruit good. That's why you want to know Yahushua. That's why we read that John 5:39. Every time you better search them scriptures, because in them you think you got eternal life, and they talking about Yahushua. And he said you won't come to him because you don't want life. And he said, and because you seek honor one from another and not the honor that comes from Elohim only, you can't see him. That man say, whosoever sin transgresseth the law. Whosoever sin hath not seen him, neither known him. You better understand it. You better make that tree good. You better make that fruit good. But let me get to the crux of this here. And that's taking us back to what we dealing with, that Ma'in. It's the power of the mighty word. You're going to be after his kind. You got to work that work. And I got to get to working that work before we get up out of here now. You talking about looking at that fruit. That's to present the works of the highest. We know what that work is. You gotta die. Humble yourself. See, the thing I was going to get to about them devouring soul. What did Peter tell you? Your enemy, the devil, is like a roaring lion walking to and fro in the earth, looking whom he may devour. How did he devour Eve? He devoured her with lies to cause her to eat of the fruit of the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. He fed her lies. And what's the false prophet going to do? He going to feed you lies because you're going to be of your father, the devil. For the lust of your father ye will do, because he was a liar and a father of it. He was a murderer from the beginning. Ain't no truth in him. Ain't no faith in him. Ain't no word in him. Yahusha ain't in him. See, a lot of people make this error and they make this mistake, right? They say the devil know the book. The devil only know what y'all giving him. The devil don't know no book like that. Because you got to remember, right, the Malachim. See, people say the devil know the book because he was reciting book back to Yahushua to tempt him. Of course, he know the script. He don't understand the script. Now, towards the end, of course, Yah is going to allow him to give understanding to the beast to understand dark sentences to deceive the people. So the people might, so he might see, like he told you in Deuteronomy 13, whether you're going to follow Yah or not, because you know what Yah told you to do. But that's another conversation for another time. Conversation we done dealt with previously on numerous occasions. But nevertheless, what Satan does is he tells lies. He knows what the word tells you, what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But he doesn't have an understanding of the word. He can't have an understanding of the word because he is not a son of Elohim. Because we are in him that is true and we know him that is true. And this is, he said, the son of Elohim has come to give us an understanding that we may know him that is true, that we are in him that is true. Even your son, Yahushua HaMashiach, this is the true Elohim and eternal life. Hashatan don't have an understanding. Don't be fooled. He told you that he will send you priests, for pastors after his own heart to feed you with knowledge and understanding. If they not feeding you with understanding, then Yahuwah ain't son of. Understanding is Yahushua. That's what the book tells us. Know him, understand him, become one with him, and then that seed will be in you. But let me get on with this, man, because I could go all night, and I don't want to go all night. I feel good right now, and I don't want to keep y'all too long. Praise y'all for the word. That's all I can say. We were going back to Matthew chapter 7. Yahuwah is good, and his mercy truly endures forever. You know, and blessed be the name of his only begotten son, Yahushua HaMashiach, for the mercies of which he manifested upon men. Yes, little potty. You drew that? Are those mountains? What did you draw? What is this?
You have to look them all up.
Very well.
I draw them all.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. 7 and 15 of Matthew. Beware of the false prophets. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bring forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bring forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. So, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He told them, if you eat of this tree, you will die. She ate of this tree and she died. What did she eat? Well, let's see what she ate, y'all. Galatians chapter 5. Did she eat fruit from a tree? No, baby. She didn't eat real fruit from a tree.
Did she eat bugs from the tree?
Did she eat bugs from the tree?
Yes, inside it.
No. She ate the fruit of a man's lips.
Yeah.
Because she was deceived. Because she went after her own lust. And therefore, she died. 5 and 8, 19, Galatians. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revilings, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I've told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. If you recall, from Genesis chapter 3, because they did these things through their disobedience, so they committed idolatry because she desired or coveted after this tree. You understand? Committed uncleanness and sedation and heresies. Sedation being rebellion, heresies believing or teaching lies. You know what I'm saying? It caused them not to be able to inherit the tree of life, and he put the cherubims there and the flaming sword to protect the way of the tree of life, and they could not inherit that. So when you look at the fruit, that parade also means offspring. He that commits sin is of the devil. So a good tree is not going to manifest themselves as all. You can't tell me you a good tree and you fornicating, or you lying, or you stealing, or you committing adultery, or you committing idolatry, or you got hatred, or you got strife, or you slandering, or you bearing false witness. You not going to tell me you a good tree, nigga. You can't convince me of that. He said a good tree ain't committing fornication. A good tree ain't telling lies. A good tree ain't bearing false witness. A good tree ain't causing discord among brethren. A good tree ain't shedding innocent blood. A good tree ain't doing that. A good tree is not coveting nor committing idolatry, nor lasciviousness. A good tree ain't doing none of that. Nigga think because a nigga say, I repent, I sin, that meant you wasn't a good tree, you was corrupt. That's why you brought forth corrupt fruit. The fruit of your actions showed forth what manner of tree you were. Are we that retarded and stupid that we can't see that? He kept it simple and plain. So either we dumb or we got respected persons. Does that mean that we be unmerciful and unforgiving? Well, I can't say unforgiving because we can't forgive a man who sinned against Elohim. Let me rephrase that. We cannot forgive a man who sinned against Elohim. We don't have that authority. This ain't the Catholic Church. I have sinned. 2 Hail Marys, you've been forgiven, my son. We don't have that authority. We don't have that authority. You can only forgive someone who sins against you. You can't forgive somebody who sinned against Elohim. That's Elohim's prerogative. All you can do is pray that Yah have mercy, and it's help to him if he want to do so. That's when you bring it forth corrupt fruit. So if you a corrupt tree, that means you stem from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You stem from Satan. You stem from the adversary. Ooh, ain't nobody gonna like that. Ain't gonna like that. It don't make you feel too good in your heart, do it. That tree had a knowledge of good and evil. That's why he say you can't be a corrupt tree, can't bring. You know how to do good. Jeremiah 4:22. Let me get to the point though. I gotta get to the point. What time it is? It's 8:30. I got 21 minutes. I got enough time to get to the point. Let's crank it up though. What you finna do, Elizabeth and Leah? No, you brushing your teeth, Elizabeth? Number 1, we'll read verse 14 of what I mentioned before in Jeremiah chapter 4 because we're here. Hey, Lizzie. Go in the bathroom and brush your teeth, Lizzie. O Jerusalem, wash thy heart from wickedness that thou may be saved. How long shall vain thoughts lodge within thee? Make that tree good. But look what he told you in verse 22 though. Make that 19. Excuse me. My bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart make a noise in me. I cannot hold my shalom because thou heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. The destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled and my curtains in a moment. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are Sodom's children. They have no understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. The knowledge to do good right there with you, but you won't do it because you're too wise to do evil. See, and the reason why I mentioned that, the knowledge to do good was with Eve. It was with Adam. But they were wise to do evil and eat from that tree. So now, therefore, you know what sin is. You know what all these things are. Don't be that tree. You better be that tree of life. Don't be that tree. Got to make yourself a good tree. But with that being said, right, With that being said, because we dealing with what? The mighty work of the head, right? The mighty work of continual life. Let's begin then. 2 Kings chapter 19. So, of course, that's dealing to being after his kind. Then, of course, dealing with the fruit is to present the chief's work, action, or deed. So the work of the chief is going to be present. So if you a good tree and you bringing forth good fruit, the works of sin ain't present. The works of sin ain't present. If the works of sin present and you a good tree bringing forth good fruit, then this book is a lie then. Or you lying, and we know Yahuwah cannot lie. It's impossible. So you lying. Let's just keep it real now. Let's deal with what y'all say and get ourselves in line with the word instead of trying to make the word get in line with what we want to get in line. Let's just do that. It's just that simple. That's all we got to do. We don't want to do that, though, because that sounds too much like doing the right thing. 2 Kings chapter 19, right? What I want? I want verse 29. And this shall be a sign unto thee. You shall eat this year such things as grow of themselves. In the second year that spring of the same, and in the third year sow ye and reap and plant vineyards and eat the fruits thereof. And the remnant of the remnant that has escaped of the house of Yehuda shall yet again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they shall escape out of the Mount Zion. The zeal of Yahuwah of hosts shall do this. Therefore, no, that's good. We're not going any further. So when we look at, we want things that grow of themselves. That takes us back to Genesis 1 where it said the seed is in itself. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll take a look at taking root downward to bear fruit upward. This particular passage we have dealt with in the past, and we've dealt with the Genesis 1 in the past, but we're just going about it in a different fashion. That different fashion was interjecting the Genesis story into this equation. So nevertheless, praise y'all for the word. Let's go to John chapter 12. No, my apologies. Luke chapter 8 and verse 8. Then John chapter 12. Because he said you're going to eat of the things that grow of itself. I want you to keep that in mind. Eight and 8. 8 and 5 is good. And the sower went out to sow his seed, and as he sowed, some fell by the wayside, and it was trodden down. The fowls of the air devoured it. Some fell upon a rock, and as soon as it was sprung up, it withered away because it lacked moisture. Some fell among the thorns, and the thorns sprang up with it and choked it. The other fell on the ground and sprang up and bare fruit 100-fold. And when he had said these things, he cried that he that had ears, let him hear. And his disciples asked him, saying, what might this parable be? He said, unto you it is given to know the mysteries of Elohim, the kingdom of Elohim, but unto others in parables, that seeing they might not see, and hearing they might not understand. Now the parable is this: the seed is the word of Elohim. Now that seed is the word of Elohim. It manifests, right, that the seed fall in the ground. That ground is symbolic of your heart. So now he said you're going to eat the things that grow of themselves, and you're going to take root downward to bear fruit upward. So we know, according to John chapter 1, whole John chapter 12, that Yahusha is the word made flesh. We know he was put in the sepulcher. He was put in the seed, is put in the ground. Let's go to Daniel chapter 4 first. And let's look at something. Yeah, praise y'all for the word. See, now that's when you're going about talking about, in order to make the tree good and the fruit good, it's something you got to do. And that's something that you have to do it's the mighty work of continual life. What is the mighty work of continual life? Y'all know what it is. Sacrifice. Sacrifice your life. That's the only way you're going to get continual life. You got to die. You got to die. You got to die. You got to die. If you're going to be after his kind. You can't be after his kind and you ain't died. You cannot be after his kind and you ain't died. That's why that's how you not bringing forth that fruit. You're not bringing forth that fruit because you ain't died. John going to tell about it in a minute. Y'all should already know it. Well, the veterans should already know it. Of course, if you're new to the word, of course you're not going to know it. And that's understandable. Daniel 4 and 19. Then Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, was astonished for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation thereof trouble thee. Belshazzar answered and said, My master, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies. The tree that thou saw, which grew and was strong, whose height reached unto Shamahim, and the sight of thereof to all the earth, which is Yahushua in his greatness, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. Keep that in mind, meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelt, and upon whose branches the fowls of Shamahim had their habitation. It is thou, O king, thou art grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown and reached unto Shamahim, and thy dominion to the end of the earth. Y'all know that's Yahushua. Whereas the king saw a watcher, a Kadesh one, coming down from Shamahim, saying, Hew the tree down and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass and the tender grass of the field. And let it be wet with the dew of Shamahim, and let his portion be with the beasts of the field till 7 times pass over him. Like I said, we dealt with this before, so something let me hit quick. So when you see that, he said, let the root or the stump of the roots thereof in the earth. This is Yahushua being placed in the grave. Leave him in the grave. The tender grass of the field, let it be wet with the dew of Shamahim. He put in the grass of the field. Remember what we read in Genesis chapter 1. He commanded the earth to bring forth grass. So that grass is Yahushua, that dew is the Ruach, and the resurrection of the dead is present. When he said that till the 7 times pass over him, that is a just man falleth 7 times, and he shall rise again. Or the 7 abominations contained in Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 16. You know, the sowing discord among brethren, shedding innocent blood, bearing false witness, a proud look, and so on and so forth. And looking at all those things that happened to Yahushua happened to him by his own people. The people who opened their mouth and said that Yahuwah was their Elohim. He so leave that stump in the earth till 7 times pass over it, and then it will grow back. But he also said that that tree was meat for all. Forth is the fruit. Keep that in mind. Let's go to John chapter 12, verse 23. Who is this, Abigail? Who is this masked man? You get it, Abby. I don't want it. Very well. Very well, Abby. Very well. Get off of my notebook, please. Get off of my notebook, please. Off of the notebook, please. Little Tabby. Let me get your bum. Get your bum. You're running away now. John 12 and 23. And Yahushua answered them, saying, The hour is come that the Son of Man should be esteemed. Truly, truly, I say unto you, except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abide alone. But if it die, it bring forth much fruit. He that love his life shall lose it, and he that hate his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. If any man serve me, let him follow me. And where I am, there shall also my servant be. And if any man serve me, him will my Abba honor. So remember, right? That seed fall in the ground and abide alone, but if it die, it bring forth much fruit. Remember, he said that the stump remained in the earth, cut it down so it could grow back. Take root downward to bear fruit upward. If you die, you can bear fruit upward. You're going to sit back and look at it. Let's look at that. Let's deal with the meat for all. Let's deal with that first. Genesis chapter 1. Let's deal with that first. Let's deal with that first. Remember, he said, let the herb yielding seed and the fruit yielding fruit after its kind. Verse 29 of Genesis chapter 1. Elohim said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed, which is upon the face of all their rats, and every tree, and which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be meat. Think about that. A fruit of a tree yielding seed. So now the fruit of this tree yielding seed. Think about that. He said this tree is meat for all. He said, except the corn of wheat fall on the ground and abide alone, but if it die, bring forth much fruit. Make the tree good and its fruit good. And now he says it's the seed that's in itself. Yahushua said he's the word. Yahushua said in John chapter 10, verse by 17 or 18, he said, nobody don't take my life from me. I lay it down on myself. Because you're going to eat things that grow of themselves. The word was in Yahushua. He died and he grew of himself. because he was the word made flesh, and that word was in him. As Romans chapter 8 tells us, Yahushua was resurrected by the word that was in him, by the Ruach HaKodesh of his Elohim, and therefore you eat of his flesh, because he told you, my flesh is meat indeed, and he is the meat for all. Like it told you in Daniel chapter 4, from that tree, from the fruit that is produced from this tree, it's meat for all. He just told you the tree, a fruit of a tree yielding seed, to you it shall be meat. That man's body is meat. Eat from that tree. And when you eat from that tree, then you will die. See, that's the flip side of it, because you can sit back and look at Yahushua eating from the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, and therefore he died. And if you eat from that tree, therefore you die with him. And when you die with him, you rise in the likeness of his resurrection. And when you rise in the likeness of his resurrection, now you bringing forth fruit. And what fruit are you bringing forth? Y'all know the fruits of the Ruach. The fruits of the Ruach can only be manifested if a man has died. That means he made that tree good, because Yahushua told you in John chapter 15, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Abide in me, and I in you. Whosoever abide in me, he shall bring forth much fruit. If you abide in him, then you must die, because that is the seed which is in itself. And he's the tree that's yielding fruit after his kind. So those who are after his kind are going to do the mighty work of continual life, which is to die. So when you become that fruit, you present the actions of the chief, the work of the chief. The things that we kind of talked about last week, the long suffering, the gentleness, the goodness, the mercy, the forgiveness, the righteousness of faith. Because to die, to live the Elohim, is an exercise in the righteousness of faith. Let's complete this at Galatians 5:22, and we'll call it a night, because it is late. And y'all willing, we just keep it rolling, because you know tonight's just a setup. Yahuwah willing, he spare our lives, and we keep it rolling. But hallelujah for Yahushua and the word, I tell you that. Galatians 5:22, but the fruit of the Ruach is love. So when you make the tree good, the first fruit that you're going to produce is you're going to love Elohim. Yahushua say, I love my Father, therefore my Father loveth me. Joy, shalom, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, and faith, meekness, self-control, temperance. Against such there is no Torah. And they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. Because when we make that tree good and its fruit good, then we show forth ourselves to be that tree of life that was in the midst of the garden. You understand? The tree that Elohim planted in the midst of the garden. But when we show forth ourselves to be that corrupt tree, we're that corrupt tree because we're doing the works of the knowledge of good and evil, or the works of the adversary. Whosoever you yield your member service to obey is to whom you obey, whether of obedience unto life or sin unto death. You understand? But, you know, hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. We'll stop right there. I appreciate everybody this evening. I pray everybody understood. If you didn't, you know, you can leave a comment. Y'all willing, I catch it and see it. Be able to respond to you in a timely fashion. If not, you can email at djbonton80@gmail.com, or you can simply just call my phone at 904-401-9912, and we can satisfy any query that you have. I bless everybody out the house of Yah in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. I appreciate everybody this evening, and we bid you adieu. Say bye-bye, Tabby. Say bye-bye, Tabby.